Good day and welcome back to my channel. The Madlanga Commission this week heard explosive testimony from National Police Commissioner General Fanny Masemola. His account alleges deep interference in operational policing, links between senior officers and criminal actors, and a potentially unlawful decision to disband a specialized investigative unit, a decision Masemola says was formalized in a ministerial letter he says carried presidential sign-off. The Madlanga Commission was convened to investigate allegations of corruption, capture, and mismanagement within the South African Police Service. Masemola spoke as the serving National Commissioner, describing decisions he took, intelligence he received, and pressures he faced from political leadership. His testimony is centrally about the boundary between political oversight and operational independence, and whether that boundary was breached. Here are some of the key allegations. Political Killings Task Team disbandment. Masemola testified that Police Minister Senzo Mchunu issued a letter dated 31st December 2024, directing the immediate disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team, a specialized unit investigating politically motivated killings and syndicate links. Masemola says he only became aware of the letter on 2 January 2025 when an official in his office forwarded it by WhatsApp. He had been on leave when it was issued and had received no prior consultation. Masemola maintains that the letter's rationale did not reflect a proper operational assessment and that an abrupt disbandment would have jeopardized active dockets. He resisted the instruction, arguing for managed alternatives that would protect ongoing investigations and evidence continuity. Allegation about presidential sign-off. A critical detail in Masemola's evidence is his claim that the disbandment decision had been endorsed at the highest level. He told the commission that the minister indicated the president had agreed with or signed off on the decision. Masemola further testified that he raised the matter with President Cyril Ramaphosa on 1 February 2025. The president said he would speak to the minister, but Masemola says he was not informed of any outcome. If the president formally approved or signed the directive, Masemola's account raises constitutional questions about whether a political principle improperly intervened in operational policing choices reserved for the National Commissioner and whether required procedural safeguards were bypassed. He further moved on to make an allegation about a whistleblower, Pktt Matlala and Jerry Boshoga kidnapping. Masemola told the commission that a concerned party alerted him to links between gangster figure Vusimuzi, Pktt Matlala, and the November 2024 kidnapping of businessman Jerry Boshoga. The whistleblower explicitly warned that Lieutenant General Shadrach Sibia should not oversee the Boshoga inquiry because of an alleged close association between Sibia and Matlala. Acting on that intelligence, Masemola said he reassigned the Boshoga probe to Crime Intelligence Head Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo and ordered intelligence-led operations. Those steps culminated in a search and seizure at Matlala's residence on 6 December 2024 and arrests connected to the investigation. Masemola emphasized that the intelligence pivot made Matlala a person of interest in the abduction. What Masemola said about Matlala's role in the kidnapping is shocking. He described the whistleblower's claim that Matlala had the network's influence and logistical reach to facilitate the Boshoga abduction. The assertion was not that Matlala acted alone, but that his influence could have enabled or supported the kidnapping through intermediaries, and that his network overlapped with senior police contacts. Masemola told the commission the intelligence suggested Matlala's reach extended into areas where he could affect investigations, and that keeping Sibia away from the inquiry was necessary to preserve the probe's integrity. Sibia's alleged association and consequences. Masemola recounted the whistleblower's description of Sibia and Matlala as close friends who work together and share a lot of information. Those characterizations, Masemola said, created a real risk of compromised oversight and decision-making if Sibia remained in charge of matters touching Matlala. On Masemola's account, the combination of the whistleblower's allegations, documentary signals, and operational concerns prompted internal probes and operational decisions that resulted in Sibia being placed on leave and later suspended pending inquiries. Masemola framed these measures as necessary to protect evidence, preserve impartiality, and allow investigations to proceed without perceived or actual influence. Masemola anchored his account in documentary and testimonial material, the ministerial letter directing the Pktt's disbandment, the whistleblower's statement alleging the Matlala-Sibia connection, contemporaneous emails and meeting notes, records of the December 6th search and subsequent arrests, and internal memos documenting the reallocation of the Boshoga inquiry. Those documents and the operational steps they triggered Raids, arrests, reassignments, and suspensions are the immediate public consequences of Masemola's decisions and provide the Commission with material to test his claims. Responses and contradictory accounts. Representatives of the ministry have disputed parts of Masemola's account, asserting that ministerial oversight is legitimate and that any directives were lawful. Lieutenant General Sibia denies wrongdoing and is contesting his suspension through formal channels. The presidency has acknowledged receipt of reports and indicated it will consider the Commission's findings. These competing narratives are now for the Commission to reconcile through cross-examination, document verification, and further witness testimony. If the Commission substantiates Masemola's claims that a sitting president endorsed the disbandment of a specialized investigative unit and that a deputy commissioner had compromising ties to a criminal figure implicated in a violent kidnapping, the implications are profound. The findings would point to a breakdown in the firewall that protects operational policing from political direction, suggest the possibility of collusion between criminal networks and senior officials, and further erode public trust in law enforcement institutions at a time when victims and communities rely on impartial investigations. Restoring confidence will require transparent findings, clear accountability for any unlawful actions, and reforms that reinforce procedural safeguards and the separation of powers between political principles and operational police leadership. Key items to monitor as the Commission continues: whether documentary evidence proves presidential sign-off on the disbandment letter, whether the internal inquiry into Sibia produces conclusive evidence of an improper relationship with Madlanga, whether the Boshoga abduction investigation yields criminal charges, and whether the Commission recommends disciplinary or criminal referrals based on its findings. Masemola's allegations at the Commission have raised eyebrows. Do you believe these claims will finally spark accountability, or will they fade into another political storm? Stay respectful in the comments. Share your thoughts, insights, or questions. Let's keep this a space for constructive dialogue. Your voice matters. What detail from Masemola's testimony surprised you most and why? Do you think a president's sign-off on operational policing decisions is ever justified? Explain. Should a specialized unit like the Political Killings Task Team be protected from ministerial direction? Yes or no? Defend your view. How should police oversight work when senior officers are accused of links to criminal figures? What actions should follow immediately? Which outcome from the Commission would restore the most public confidence? Criminal charges, resignations, institutional reform, or full transparency of documents? Pick one. If the whistleblower's claims about Sibia and Madlanga are true, who else should be investigated and why? Which reforms would you prioritize to prevent political interference in active criminal investigations? How important is independent crime intelligence in cases that involve alleged collusion between police and organized crime? Rate from 1 to 5 and say why. Would you trust police investigations led internally after these allegations, or should independent investigators be appointed? State your reasons. What role should the public play while the Commission continues? Protest, petition, follow media coverage, or wait for findings? Which is most effective in your view? If this story hit home, help us hit harder. Subscribe to Skybriedge for more investigations that demand answers. Drop a comment, tap super thanks to fuel the next expose. Want to go deeper? Join the channel for just 14 rands per month. Cancel anytime. Your support powers the journalism others won't touch. This isn't just content, it's a call to action. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on my next upload. Bye.